Welcome to Flowering Creativity! This is the podcast where we explore the lives of creative people and provide practical tips for achieving and sustaining your creative lifestyle and goals. With me today, I have the multi-talented Emily Brown. Primarily a Chicago stage actress, Emily has a new focus on TV and film. Emily has appeared in a Kellogg's Frosted Flakes commercial as Sheila, the no-nonsense boss who catches an employee eating her lunch. She's also filmed a few upcoming short films and 2 web series. As a singer, Emily has fronted the band's organic soul and blues band No Excuses, which was formed while working at DDB, a Chicago advertising company. No Excuses had the pleasure of performing at House of Blues and other prominent Chicago music venues. As you'll see, Emily plays bass as her primary instrument. During the early months of COVID, she focused on the bass, adding vocals, and now has a YouTube channel filled with her covers, playing and singing jazz, bossa nova, rock, soul, and country. Emily also creates digital art, which can be found online with a quick search for Emily Brown Creates Redbubble. All right, everybody, get ready to meet Emily Brown. Hello, how you doing, Emily?
Thank you for having me, Matthew. This is so freaking cool.
You're welcome. And you know, while we have some Joe here this morning, I want to talk to you a little bit about creativity because you inspired me, just like the previous guests that I've had. You inspired me specifically with your multi-talented artistic abilities and, you know, some of the wise things that you commented on my videos. I knew with just a couple little cracks in the shell of that egg that there was a lot of wisdom in there that we would, that I wanted to help to get out into the world. So thank you for being here with me, Emily.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. Yes.
We're going to play a little package here that she's created for you, a montage of some of the highlights of Emily's creative career. Enjoy.
Come on. She won't mind. She won't mind at all.
Richard?
Hey, Sheila.
Growl-proof your mornings. Frosted mini wheats. 1 bowl.
Well, they call it Stormy Monday and Tuesday just as bad. Wednesday's worse. Thursday is oh so sad.
The Wagon Wheel, right?
I know, I love that song. Darius Rucker. In the blowfish.
I remember when we used to sit in the government yard in Trenchtown. Then Georgie would make the firelight with logwood burning through the night.
Smooth.
It's my favorite.
And even shadows and the stars appear, and there is no one there to dry your tears. I could hold you for a million years,
baby.
Very nice.
Thank
Thank.
you. I wish I had some short films to show, but they're still in production, so I'm waiting for those to be released so I can do clips of those on my YouTube channel.
I know I've seen the commercial a couple times, but just when you turn and you make that face, just every time, I don't know, it just makes me crack up. I love it. Really
My
good
coach,
job.
one of my acting coaches was like, "That's your bread and butter there," because back in the day, I used to have like what people would say a mean face, a mean resting face. I've been working on that, so but it's like that's my bread and butter.
I'm really trying to be one of those people that's looking at the bright side of everything that's been going on because I mean, um, like the pandemic has brought major change to everyone's life, and I'm not trying to downplay the negative sides of it. You know, it's been really brutal to a lot of people in a lot of ways, especially creatively, and so. Tell me a little bit about how the pandemic affected your life, your creativity, and your work as an artist.
Well, it's interesting. Last year, I was trying to manifest a life of creativity. I want to be able to make a living being creative with my acting and my singing. So that's something that I was working on last year with was manifesting. I'm not doing it so much anymore. I kind of I'm letting the universe take care of it. So I'm not really focusing on making it happen. I'm just letting it go and letting the universe happen. And so earlier this year, I usually work as a temp
Hmm.
administrative assistant, and my contract ended at the end of January. So, I was like, I'm gonna, get another temp job. And then right when that happened, the coronavirus happened, and I had a temp job that was supposed to start, but it got postponed. So usually temp agencies are calling me all the time. They stopped calling me, nothing was going on. So I was like, well, I need to redirect and focus and decide what I can do because of the pandemic. So I decided that I was just going to go with the flow, and took a sabbatical, consciously took a sabbatical. I dipped into savings and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm going to give myself a year to really focus on creativity and my acting and everything. And it's really interesting because I feel like if I had have found another temp job, I don't think I would have been acting as much as I have this year.
Hmm.
It got quiet for a bit, and then in June, at the end of June, it just picked up, and I've been in like 4 short films. I've been in cast and web series and industrials, and it's like the universe is saying this is what you're supposed to be doing, because it's like I'm being supported.
Hmm.
So if I had been knocking on the temp doors and concentrating on that and going, something's wrong, why? Sometimes you just got to know when to fold them and when to move on. So
Gotta
it's
know
like,
when to hold 'em. Know
yes,
when
Kenny,
to fold 'em.
yes, that
Know
has been
when to
my theme
run.
song for this year. That one, and also I love the fact that I'm knocking on this door, going, "You're not letting me in. You're not. I want another temp job. I want to." And then I'm knocking on this door, and it's like it just opened up. And I understand it's scary sometimes, though, because right now I'm enjoying things and stuff like that and taking it as it comes, and I just need to trust in the flow and that believe that it's gonna provide and keep going in the
Definitely.
direction. So know when to fold and know when to start knocking on other doors.
Yeah, the discernment can be a challenge. Um, like we were talking about in the little pregame, we were talking about how things have been changing a little bit, and I feel like some of my shows are babies, like this one, and even though they haven't been that successful yet, it's because they're babies. But then other ones, um,
Yeah.
maybe like Jam and Chat, I love doing the show and it's fun, but it just doesn't really feel like it's catching on for viewership. So I'm thinking about how do I discern and revamp, and at least at the moment I'm thinking about um, just doing starting in November doing Jam and Chat monthly instead of weekly.
Okay. Right.
And then it's just like Flower and Creativity monthly, and then maybe doing a music lesson monthly instead of every week, and then that way it'll be a bigger deal. And then, you know what I mean? I can really put a lot of effort into it. Maybe for Jam and Chat, instead of doing 8 minutes, maybe make it 20 or 30 minutes because it's just once a month. You know what I
Right.
mean?
And discernment is really important because, things are constantly ebbing and flowing, and there's times for certain things, and sometimes it's not ready. Like I do art, I create art and stuff like that, and nothing's really happening there. But so I kind of had to put that to the side and focus on what is flowing for me. That's something that I've really learned this past year. You got to make tweaks and say, okay, so that's not working. I'm going to refocus on something else.
Yeah, well, I
Hey,
mean,
that's
I'm
life.
knocking on a door, like you were saying. I'm knocking on a door. Well, if nobody answers, why would I take that personally? Right?
No, 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 no. Because it's opening up, if one door stays shut, then it's opening up venues that you never even realized were even possible.
Well, and if you
You
don't ever
know?
knock on that door, then you won't get to the next one to knock on that somebody might be home. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, my thing is that I have so many interests. I think I have ADD or something like that. So I'm always finding. So it's like I have to kind of narrow down my interests. So this works perfectly. My theory of how to, close that door, let that door stay closed. Let me find the door that's going to open. You know.
Well, and the artist in all of us is like a child. And what's a little child do when you observe them, When they're uninhibited, they go from one thing to the next whenever they feel like it, And they could be drawing for, 3 minutes and then all of a sudden they're not even close to done, but they just decide, "Oh, I want to play my video game." Then they just pick it up and they start playing it. You know what I mean? There's no like analysis and like detailed,
Rigidity or
mental
anything.
gymnastics. They just have fun.
I really do believe in positivity and stuff like that. You got to really focus. You got to be careful about what you focus on. Because if you focus on negativity, it's just going to breed more negativity. So every once in a while, I have to say to myself, I feel very fortunate. I'm blessed. This is how I feel. And it's like when you get yourself in that state, it just opens up. You got to be really careful about how you focus your intent and your energy.
We have approximately 60,000 thoughts a day, something like that. And what, 90%? I'm not, my numbers might not be perfect on this. Most of them are the same thoughts you fucking had yesterday. Right? It's crazy. So,
Yeah.
right? And so to be an artist, we got to break out of that. We can't have the same thoughts we had yesterday. We got to keep constantly be dipping into the well and having new thoughts and different thoughts to stay creative. So that segues perfectly into the next question. One of the ways that I like to do that is by having a daily routine. Like, do you have a morning
Exactly.
routine that helps you to maintain your creativity and your flow?
Yeah, exactly. I like to get up and go for a walk first thing in the morning, and I walk all the time. So it clears your head, and it, gives you fresh energy and air. So I go for a walk and for about a half an hour, and then I come back and I drink coffee, take a shower, and then I get on backstage and look for auditions. So sometimes I'll find some auditions that I'll need to do a self taping for the day, so I'll do the self taping, I'll get that knocked out of the way and submit those. And then in the afternoon, I do like maybe 2 hours of bass practice and 2 to 3 hours of bass practice. And sometimes in the evenings, I'll go for a walk as well, and come back and work on something that I'm not really good at just yet. And a lot of times when you walk away from something and you come back, you find that you have it's easier, like a new perspective. So, yeah, I believe in walking. Walking is the cure for everything. The cure for stress is the cure for being blocked. Just walk, let it go, don't think about it, and then come back to it. And then it's like, oh, there's clarity now. That's what I've discovered about walking.
Yeah, because at least for me, when I'm jogging, I'll I'll notice the thoughts coming in, and it's easier for me to say I'm jogging right now. You know what I mean? Like, because
Yeah, 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 it's
the
like
attention
when I
goes
shut
away
up,
from
I'm
the
talking
sweetness
right
of the air, you know.
now.
It goes away from the breeze on your skin. It goes away from the feel of the contact of the feet meeting the ground. You know, it goes away from the energy of the earth all around you, nourishing you and making you feel connected, you know, because when we're trapped in our thoughts, right, we're disconnected, we're alone, we're fearful, we're worried, we're, right? And so the whole purpose of getting out into nature, even if it's just down the street of your neighborhood and just walking
Right, right.
around, you know, is to get out of that same spin of thoughts that you've been in.
Yeah, and also sleeping on it. I love
True.
sleeping
Yeah.
on it. Take a nap, get away from it, and really does, getting away from something and letting it gestate really does bring clarity a lot. You'll be worried about something today, and then 2 days from now, it's like, oh, okay, it's not a worry of mine anymore. You
Yeah.
know,
A lot of times things work themselves out, even if you don't think it could, you know, but then it just does. It's like,
yeah,
oh,
it
okay.
does. Yeah, like you have a problem and the solution is not available just yet. There's no solution, so you might as well just sit with the problem, let it go, and just wait for it to work itself out,
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Because, you know, worry is just adding to the problem, whatever the problem is. And you know, it can't really help, you know? But it certainly can do damage.
worrying helps because it lets you know that there's a problem that needs to be solved, but you can't hold on to the worry. I
Well,
think
yeah.
that's the problem. People hold on
We
to it.
discern between worry and like a reasonable precaution, right? And
Yes.
that's a sort of a gray area. So there's a little bit of flexibility in there.
Exactly, exactly. Yes, precaution. Because you got to, think about things and be aware of things that could possibly happen. You got to, have that out there, but still don't focus on it.
So things happen. I mean, they do. How do you manage your stress when things happen?
Walking, like I said, walking and taking a nap when I'm stressed out. So when, even when I'm like working an office job, sometimes I would get stressed out about something. I would just get up, walk away, you know, you know, using the correct protocols, of course, but just kind of walk away, get away from it. Then I come back and I'm like, okay, I got this solved. So, like I said, walking is my answer for everything, for stress. Meditating, I love meditating. So those are the two, like movement, exercise, and meditation are wonderful for stress.
Yeah, I found for me that, you know, like if I do sitting meditation or you know, music meditation like mantra or jamming for me is totally a meditation. Um,
Yes. Yeah.
you know, it's my favorite meditation actually,
I
is
should have
jamming.
mentioned that. Yes.
Um, but you
Yeah.
know, I feel like the routine gives me the grounding to balance me. And like recently, it's been pretty cold where I'm staying, so I haven't been exercising as much as I would like, you know. And you know, I wanted to do this morning, get it done because I've got a crazy week happening, crazy weekend happening. We're actually moving on Saturday, so that's pretty nuts. You know,
Yeah.
so I've been having this, oh, it's cold. Oh, I don't feel like it. It's cold. And I get these excuses. Now, I've been making myself exercise to a minimum, but, you know, one of the things that I'm going to have to deal with when we're done here is, you know, okay, do I go out and jog now, or do I open one of those yummy beers that's in the fridge and keep my headphones on and start editing my video right away? You know, like do I have a beer at work, or do I make myself go and exercise? Now, I don't want to go on too much about this, but I know that if I go outside and exercise first, not only will I do my work better, more efficiently, and be in a better mood, but my body will feel better too while I'm done, and so then when I'm done, I won't be as cramped and stuff from hunching over the screen, etc., etc., etc. Where I'm going with this is, how do you deal with your excuses? Because I mean, we all have excuses that are, in our head that we're putting our own roadblocks in the way of where we're trying to go. How do you deal with that?
It's habits and planning ahead and saying, this is what I do. This is my day. This is how my day looks. And the excuses can happen after you've completed everything you need to do. Like, I do everything I'm supposed to do from 9 until 5 as if I have an office job. And then sometimes maybe 5, after 5, 6, or 7, I'm like, okay, now I can watch TV. I can do all the fun things that I want to do. But I think, and that keeps me from making excuses because I know this is how my day is supposed to go. You know,
That's
and
really
things
hard to
happen.
do. To be
Yeah, it is
when
very
you're
hard.
fully self-employed and you're making your own schedule and to stick to that schedule without deviation, that's tough. I mean, I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and I mean, um, I don't do 9 to 5. I mean, I'll put my run breaks in there, and part of the deal with me is that I'm also a housekeeper since I'm not working outside of the house, so I have to
Okay.
do all of that too, which is actually really nice because it gives me a great break in the day. Okay, now I'll cook dinner and you know put on some music or whatever while I'm doing it, and just or maybe just have quiet because having headphones on all day, right? You got to rest the ears. But yeah,
Yeah, it's easy to make excuses. My thing that my issue that I'm running into is because I'm doing things that I enjoy
mhm,
doing, but sometimes I need to give myself a break.
mhm.
You know, I love doing self tapings. I love auditioning and everything, auditioning for voiceovers. But last week I gave myself a break. I was like, I'm going to just not do that. I'm going to chill.
So right
It's
now is there like a first layer of audition that's over Zoom or whatever, like before you go in person now?
yeah, you do all your self taping. I'll go on backstage and I'll see an audition that I'm interested in. Sometimes they'll provide you with a script, and I set up my self taping. I submit the script. If they don't have the script, I'll submit an audition. And then if they like what I did with the script for like a film,
Mhm.
um, I have my friend Dee. She reads the other parts for me. So then I submit that, and then they'll call me back. And sometimes it'll be like a Zoom meeting or another Zoom audition. But yeah, that's pretty much how it works. I've been cast in a few things just by doing Zoom auditions. I haven't like I've had callbacks. I haven't had to go anywhere to get a part, like a callback or anything. So everything's
That's
done on Zoom.
that's one of these bright sides of this pandemic. I mean, think about it. You could be at a place waiting in line behind 100 people, having to pee. You know what I mean? Like, and then you get to just you know, put on your makeup, and you could be wearing sweatpants from the waist down, and do your audition in front of your camera at home where you're comfortable.
Yeah,
That's
this has
cool.
allowed us to realize there's a better way of doing things. You don't have to go somewhere to get it done. There's even like this thing where you can actually shoot the entire production at home. Like you put a green screen behind you
Mm.
and you submit that as an audition, and not as an audition, but as the performance piece,
Mm.
and the production people will take care of the rest.
All the CGI
You
and all
know?
that crazy stuff they do. Wow,
Yeah,
cool.
it's
That's
so
neat.
freaking cool now. And it's so cool because now I used to be like, the agents would be like, oh, we have an audition. Can you come in? You'd have to go in, and then you'd be nervous, and then blah, blah, blah. You make mistakes and stuff like that. This is like, okay, I'm at home. I got an audition. I got a self tape. I'm just going to take as many chances as I want, as many takes as I want, and I'm just going to submit the best performance. It's easy peasy. I love it. I love it.
Cool. Well,
Hope it
that's really
stays.
neat.
I think it's going to stay like this too, actually. You
That
know.
makes sense. Makes
Hmm.
sense. I mean, I'm sure the really, really, really big stuff will keep doing stuff a more traditional way,
Right, exactly.
but for the smaller production people, I mean, this makes sense because then that way your individual production, uh, you know, you're taking care of your own costs, your own equipment, your own crew, all that stuff. That's saving them money in the end. They don't have to provide you a space to do your work. They don't have to pay the electric bill on it, all those things. It makes sense. And you already have all that stuff anyway because you needed it for your audition and blah, blah, blah. So it makes sense. When you're embarking on a project, do you plan your entire endeavor or do you just kind of go wherever your intuition leads you?
I do both. I'm starting to think about my art. Like when I create art, I'll say to myself, this is what I want the end product to be. And I'll start. It's great doing abstract art, painting. I do abstract art digitally. So you have like an outcome in your head of how you want it to be, to end. But then you start going and you just let go and you're listening to music and you just go with the flow and you let your intuition speak to you. And then you come up with something you had no idea that was even possible to create. And I really love following my intuition. I get the craziest ideas sometimes, and I just follow through with them. I might not see an immediate result, but I follow through with them. Like with bass playing. I for years I played piano and guitar. I was okay at both of those. And so that was my plan. I was like, I'm going to play piano and I'm going to play guitar and stuff like that. That was my plan. But a couple of years ago, I teach music sometimes. And one of my students wanted to learn how to play bass. And I had this bass I've had for 10 years, never played around with it. And I was like, well, I'll show you how to play bass. And I picked it up. It was an intuitive thing to me as well. And that was 2 years ago, and I have not stopped since then. So I had this one plan, but this other plan works out so much better, because it's like I found my jam. This is it, So yeah, it's a mixture of both. You got to plan stuff, but then sometimes it doesn't go that way, and you just got to say, okay, well, this is where I am, and this is how it is, and this is what it looks. This is what it looks like.
Definitely. And a lot of times I find that ideas can be offered from places that you may not expect, right? Like you might get an idea from a comment on your video, or you might get an idea, from your wife. And, I'll tell you, I owe a lot of the success of my YouTube channel to my wife because, she gets sick of hearing about it. But, when she offers her creative suggestions, I mean, they always help. And the few times that I've been able to have her lucky enough to come on camera with me has always been a wonderful experience. Trying to get other viewpoints, because just me, that's cool. But
Right.
a little contrast really, really helps. And, I don't have all the answers and I don't have all the ideas and I don't claim to. All right. I just want to put my little 2 cents out there and be creative. And then also, help to other people to flower their ideas. Because honestly, especially in the United States, but everywhere in the world, I say, we need a more artistic friendly society. We need a society where, art is highly valued in all of its forms. I saw this one comic that I'm sure everybody's seen, right? It has the two kids, right? And then the one kid's like, I created this. And the other kid's like, that's worthless. You'll never sell that for anything. And then it shows the kid with a frowny face. And then he says, can I have it for free? And I mean, that's how fascism treats artists, right? They down you. They say you need to do something for real that really is real work that makes real money and has real value in society. And then, oh yeah, can I have it for free? Can I just take it from you?
No one ever said to Michael Jordan, oh, can you play basketball for free? No one ever asked him to do that.
And none of us are claiming to be Michael Jordans. We just want to be able to make a living and do what we love. That way, not only are we contributing our unique part to society, but by doing that, we're showing others, hey, you can do this too, whatever your art is, whatever your path is.
Yes, it's all about you. I think we are here to show other people how things can be done, or to inspire or give other people ideas. We're not a bubble, you know? And like sometimes I'll post stuff on Facebook. No one will like it or whatever, but that's cool because I know at least someone's, people are watching it in some way. In some way, it's probably inspiring. I mean, I don't respond to everything that I see either, but it inspires me, So it's like you need to show you need to show your abilities and your talent and stuff, and you need to know that in some way it's probably inspiring someone in some way, because we are a reflection of each other.
Oh man.
You know.
And when you look at TV and the mainstream media, it's so obvious that the all the rhetoric is to divide people, divide people, divide people, divide people, and it's so obvious to me now. So it's like, well, what can I do? Well, I can't speak out against the divisive media very much because my voice isn't that big. But my
Right.
little voice, if it inspires one or two people to regain their flow, three people to regain their flow and creative, and make a cake for their kids' birthday dinner that they were afraid of making because they thought their neighbors would judge them, and it turns out amazing, and it's the life of the party. Even just making a cake, it can totally transform an event. I mean, the homemade versus the store-bought. I mean, seriously. So
Yes.
my
We're
my
here to
next
give other people ideas and motivate.
my next question then is, so somebody is blocked, and maybe they've been creative in the past, maybe they haven't really ever dove in, maybe they have blocked themselves by thinking they're not good, or they didn't make the cut, or they're too old, or whatever their excuses are. What advice would you offer to someone who's the naysayer at this moment and they're struggling to regain their flow, or maybe think that they're not creative, maybe think that they're not at all artistic? How would you help them?
It's just take a deep breath, and it's really important to follow your intuition. It's really important to find a way. Don't even have any goals. Just find a way to listen to that voice that's there. And it's always speaking to you. It's always giving you ideas. You just need to chill out and relax and really become very intuitive, and allow for that voice. Sometimes maybe the voice is telling you don't do anything. Just be still. Be silent. Just relax. And I think one thing that does kind of help, if you're not being creative about something. I read this book a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me. I read it like 20 years ago. The Artist's Way, Julia Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about getting up in the morning and just writing, journaling. Just write whatever comes to your mind. Do not censor yourself. Just write. And I think that's a perfect way of getting started with any kind of blocks that you may have.
You just reminded me of one of the incredibly wise things you said in a comment.
Oh, I did? What?
Yeah,
What'd
you
I
just
say?
reminded me. Okay,
Yes.
one of the things that inspired me to ask you to come on Flowering Creativity was when you posted a comment and you said, "Write drunk, edit sober." Yes.
I was just thinking that. Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. I was going to say that. Yes.
Talk
exactly.
about that. Talk about that.
It's about, there's two parts of your brain. The part that just lets you just do it. Let it go. Just do it. And let it be in control. Do not censor it.
Right brain.
And that's
yeah.
what the Artist's Way talks about, journaling. You're not censoring. You're just writing. You're just writing. You're just writing.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't say to stop and then edit it. I'm speaking more from if you're writing a novel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've always wanted to do. Haven't done it yet. But anyway, so you're writing a novel. Just write. Leave yourself that time. And then find a time to edit. So it's two different things. You don't edit while you're writing. You're being free. Know when to be free and know when to edit. and know when to be drunk and just
That's one of the most frustrating artistic moments when you're flowing and then you decide to listen to that ego, small, complaining, whining voice that tells you, oh, that's no good, change that, blah, 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 blah. And so then the next three lines you had in your head are gone because you're scrutinizing that one line that you were typing. And so then you're like, well, where was I going with this? And it's gone, right? Because you allowed the block. So what I try to do when that happens, because I mean, that happens to everybody, right?
right.
It's happening for a reason, right? That mental, right? It's trying to coax you into going into that edit state, right? But you're not in that state. You're committed to the flow state. And so
Right.
what I try to do is I'll just like try to push through it, if that makes any sense, right? Like, and I'll just keep going with it. And, sometimes it'll run out, or sometimes I'll end up changing what I type because it wasn't that great in the end, right? But that's okay, because just practicing keeping the writing stage separate from the editing stage is incredibly valuable artistic work. That's meditation in and of itself, being able to learn to tell the difference between the different hemispheres of your brain. Absolutely, 100% agree.
Yes, exactly. So you need to be like, okay, the drunk part of me can do this writing now, and you are free to do whatever you want. This is your time to shine, shine, shine. And then once that's done, be like, okay, now editing, it's time for you to take over.
Well, that's what I'm doing with this podcast, right? We're just recording. We're just saying whatever we want to say, and then I'll find a couple of times where I put my foot in my mouth, and I'll just chop it out. Nobody will ever see it, and it'll be good.
I mean, and that takes so much pressure off you when you realize that there are two energies working, and you have to let those energies shine when they need to shine,
And to create
and
an
not try to
overall balanced
overlap.
product, yeah,
Yes, exactly.
yeah, that's beautiful. All right,
I'm glad
so
you thought of that because I was thinking that when I was speaking. I was like, yeah, right, drunk, edit sober.
yeah, I mean, and this is not a for kids show or anything, but I mean, we're not necessarily saying you literally have to get drunk. We're just talking
Oh,
about the right brain is, like the drunk side, it's like where you're just gonna kind of just let it flow, just let it hang out, just put out whatever it is that you feel like creating, right? You sketch, right? It comes out to be, something that ends up in the trash. That's okay, because like that leads to the next sketch, which leads to the next sketch, and then you never know when
because
that one is going to come.
we didn't mean it literally.
Exactly. Well, you never know. You never know. Okay, so I got one more question here for you before we move over to Patreon. And do you feel that you choose your passion, or does your passion choose you?
Like I was mentioning earlier, I tried to choose the passion of playing piano and guitar, and I never really got anywhere. And then all of a sudden, the bass guitar chose me, and I was like, yeah, this is my jam. you know, where before I was not happy with my what I was producing. I wasn't happy with, the rate of how I was improving. But when I picked up the bass, it just flowed. So I really do believe that your passions can choose you. Sometimes you can find something and it flows, but for the most part, I think your passion chooses you.
Well,
So I
and I
think
think
what
we
happened,
block ourselves too. Like,
yeah, yeah,
we stand in our own way.
right, because it's like, well, this should be my passion, you know, but that's not true. Shoulds are really the worst things that anyone can say to themselves is, well, I should be doing this because this should be my passion,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes a lot of trial and error to find the passion that's going to flow for you. Getting back to like my digital art's not really, I mean, it's good for me because it's letting me, it's a way of me releasing, energy as far as, but I'm not seeing any, like any rewards. I mean, there is a reward, but like monetary or whatever. But it's like just being open and trusting your intuition that it's going to lead you to your passion sometimes, and sometimes your passion just shows up out of nowhere. You know, um,
Yeah. When I was young, I chose to play the saxophone, and I still choose to play the saxophone. But then I was like 10 when I started on the saxophone. But I mean, I was already a singer. You know, I was very fortunate to go to a school that in elementary school music was just, it was part of our day like every day. I mean, it was really cool. We had
that's
chorus,
nice.
and then around fourth grade we had band. So it was really really cool. And about sixth grade, we actually had a classroom music class that met like once or twice a week. And in sixth grade, they taught us a little bit about the guitar, and I feel like the guitar chose me because I just picked it up, and we were singing a song. And like there was like four chords in the song, so the teacher divided the group into four groups, and then it was like, okay, you guys play this chord when it's your turn, and you guys play this chord when it's your turn, right? But I was like, I can play them all. Can I play them all? And she said, oh yeah, okay. And then I was singing too, playing them all and singing, and and there was another girl. It wasn't just me. Another girl was playing them all and singing too, whereas everybody else was just playing the one chord and singing. And so I feel like guitar chose me. Like after that concert, my parents saw me do that. It was a couple of weeks later they bought me a guitar. And I started learning. I paid for my own lessons because I really wanted to learn. After that. Um,
And here you are.
well,
Yeah, see, I didn't have any music training growing up. I think I had chorus in high school, but that was about it.
mhm.
But I was like a shy kid at home by myself with my mom, and I just sang. So I guess that sort of chose me. That was just something that I enjoy doing, and that's something that I've done my entire life. And I kind of took it upon myself to, I'm like, oh, well, I love music. I want to learn how to play guitar and piano. So I put myself on this musical, path. And I wish I did have, classes growing up. But, that's neither here nor there because this is where we are now. So I kind of chose it, my passions. Um, and then sometimes, the bass guitar was like, oh no, I'm yours. This is for you. I'm for you. I mean, I'll dabble with piano and guitar still. I'm not going to put that to the side. But one thing that I'm learning because I have so many interests is that I really need to focus. I mean, you have your strengths and weaknesses. Right now, I need to focus on where my strengths are, where the flow is. So that's basically what I'm trying to say.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate having you here. And I would like to
Thank you.
keep talking to you here all day, but unfortunately we have other things we need to do today. So we're going to get ready and move our bonus content over to patreon.com/Matthews Music Lessons Studio. And we'll also be getting some bonus content onto Emily's Patreon site. So why don't you just take a minute here and tell everybody all the different ways that they can find you and all of your different multi-talented abilities. How can people see your acting? How can they see your music? And how can they get to your Patreon and your art and all that? Please, fill us in.
So I'm on Instagram. It's Emily Brown, actress. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page for my that. I have a Facebook page for Emily Brown Creates. I have a Facebook page for Emily Brown Music Lessons because I do teach guitar and piano and bass guitar. I have that. I have a Patreon page, Emily Brown Chicago Actress.com. When we post this, I'll put it, that stuff in the description and everything. So, and I'm going to, when I start getting clips of the short films that I've released, I'm going to put those on YouTube as well, my YouTube channel that I have.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
So we got some extra bonus content that's going to be going on to Patreon. We're going to be talking a little bit about, some of the financial side of things, how Emily's been able to keep herself flowing and working even more in depth on a more professional level. So make sure you go over to patreon.com/Matthews Music Lesson Studio for that bonus content. $1 a month is all you need to access this bonus content every month. And if you really want to support the channel deeper, $5 a month, you get access to downloading my original music that I make. So please make sure you take a second, go over, check out my page, support me, and I'll see you guys next time on Flowering Creativity.
Thank you. This was awesome. Thank you. I appreciate this.
Thank you very much for joining me on Matthew's Music Lesson Studio. Please share this video, like, and subscribe. And did you know that you can get online music lessons from me on Zoom? I recorded MP4 for you, and you can then review that lesson forever. You can have it so we can go over it, you can practice along with it, and then that way, no matter what, you can relax and enjoy the lesson. So please, MatthewsMusicLessonStudio.com. I'll see you guys next time on Matthew's Music Lesson Studio.